picture. Really the hottest nigga, you gon' respect this lava. I'm shooting it if I pull it, boy, make sure you want this drama. I bring it to you like it's Law and Order SVU. Turn you to a vegetable, now you look good inside a soup. Family come from Bishopville, but I grew up in that Bronx Zoo where they shoot you dead in the street and then dance all on top of you and I do what I got.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Nate Almighty, aka the Global Dark Skin Ambassador, here to give the people another Rikers Island story. We gonna get straight to it. These are the top 10 humiliating things that a Dayroom dummy goes through on a regular basis. I want to start this off with a disclaimer by saying, don't go to jail. Jail is for the birds. Jail is not cool. We are not glorifying jail. Jail is traumatizing. I went in there at 18. I'm about to be 30 years old. I still think about it. But we're gonna go into if your dumbass happens to go to jail like my dumbass did, and you become a Dayroom dummy, which is the lowest form, the pretty much they get no respect at all. They're like the peasants of the kingdom. They're like just no respect. It's a miserable life for a Dayroom dummy. Trust me. These are the top 10 most humiliating things that a Dayroom dummy has to go through on a regular basis. Starting with number 10. Being called a Dayroom dummy on a regular basis. Being called a Dayroom dummy is equivalent to being called a snitch. Being called a homosexual if you're not an open homosexual. That's basic ridicule 101. At the very least, you will be called a Dayroom dummy, a Dayroom nigga. When people who run the house are talking to COs and they address you, they're gonna call you a Dayroom nigga, a Dayroom dummy. When it's a group of y'all together, they'll be like, hey, Dayroom niggas, Dayroom dummies. Like, this is exactly what goes on, you know. Yeah, it sucks, you know. That's not your name. Why you allowing this man to call you that? You know, it's terrible. Maybe you should try to get your weight up. Usually they don't. Number 9. Dayroom dummies are not allowed to talk in the dayroom when the TV is off or they get slapped. That's a miserable existence. To first be locked up, so the whole jail and all the COs are telling you what to do. And then you can't even eat comfortably and have an exchange of words with your fellow man without the TV being turned off and you having to be quiet, or you gonna get slapped. I've seen dudes snicker or speak out of turn and literally get slapped sitting at the table, and then they do nothing. Miserable existence for a Dayroom dummy. Moving on to number 8, man. Repercussions for not having commissary. So not only are you in jail, not only are you a Dayroom dummy, you don't have commissary, so you get violated for not having money in your account. You get smacked up, you get humiliated for not having money in your account. Like, it's not even your fault. Let's just say your mother or your grandmother, they just don't have it for you because they gotta pay bills. You will then be ridiculed and possibly beat up, slapped up at the very least for not having commissary on commissary day. Terrible. Number 7. And when you do have commissary, you're forced to pay rent by giving up your commissary. Sucks, right? You're owned by the city. You're forced to have to ask permission to go eat, go piss, go to a visiting floor, use the phone, all type of stuff. And on top of that, you got to give your mother's hard-earned money to someone else, another man. Terrible, but this is what they have to go through, man. Number 6, forced to pay rent by giving phone calls. Here we go again. You already locked up. You may want to talk to your own girl. You may want to talk to your mother. But if somebody who runs the house or has authority in the house wants to use your phone call, you have to give it to them. And if you refuse, you will be met with brute force. These dudes are afraid of the funk. They're afraid of brute force. So you know what they do? They just get a phone call up. Thus, keeping them in Dayroom territory, man. It's a sad, sad, sad situation. Moving on though. Number 5, forced to slapbox for the entertainment of other dudes. I forgot exactly what it was called, but I believe it was called Friday Night Slap Fights, where the people who ran the house, they would choose a corner. They would choose a couple Dayroom dummies, a couple of the softest dudes in the house, and we would have bets on who would win in a slapboxing fight. We would bet commissary, push-ups, things like that. I mean, these were times where I participated in the oppression. I want to say that I'm not proud of this, but at the time, you just become a product of your environment. You know, it's either be savage or the savages is going to get you. But I remember Friday night slapboxing fights. Friday night, dudes would get in the corner and they literally would slapbox. And I would also say it's very entertaining. I mean, it's fun. Some of these dudes kind of knew how to fight. So it's like, why would you even be a Dayroom dummy? I mean, just take your licks, give your licks out. You know what I'm saying? Sad, 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 sad situation. My analytics tell me that majority of you who watch my videos are not subscribed. And this, you know, it's making the algorithm a little tricky for me, you know. If you like to watch my videos, go ahead and hit subscribe right now. Also, hit that notification bell so the videos get to the people who really want to watch them when it's time. Go ahead and send your boy, you know, $1 or $2. I know you got women you want to trick on. I know you got child support. I know you got rent, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. I'm black. I know how I be. You want to support this movement. Anything you can send to be greatly appreciated. But if not, hitting the like button is payment enough for me. Now let's get back to that video. But moving on. Top 4 things that a Dayroom dummy has to go through on a regular basis. Number 4, forced to squeeze in a seat in the back to eat. Let's get some vision going. In a Dayroom, there's no chairs. Now there's 3 or 4 iron picnic tables, nailed to the ground. Okay, so let's say there's 1 or 2 people who run the house. They sit in the front. Let's say there is maybe 2 to 5 people who are on the team. Okay, they will fill up the first table in the front and maybe take up 2 spots in the second table in the front. And then there's a couple other dudes who are not necessarily on the team, but they good, they got respect. They get to basically move like they're on the team. They're gonna fill up the rest of the spots on the bench, right? So it's space for them. Now, I only spoke about 10 people. There's a whole nother 20 people who have to fit their asses in the 2 back seats, which is only made for, let's say, 8 people to each table. So you have dudes sitting down in the corner in the back eating. Like it. You have dudes that are sitting in the back eating. They sitting on the floor because they have no room for their asses. You have other dudes whose asses are hanging off the seat because they don't have room. And it's like, damn. All you gotta do is fight a couple dudes and get jumped a couple times and you'll be able to sit comfortably, you know? But, you know, they choose to not go through that, so their lives are how it is, you feel me? They willingly agree to go through that. Willing participants in humiliation. That's their problem. Number 3, Dayroom dummies are forced to do maid tagging. Maid tagging is another word for washing clothes, washing underwear. You gotta be at a real low level in your life to really have a man give you his shitty drawers, his smelly nut having drawers, and you're at your sink where you sometimes put your face to drink water. You're taking your soap, scrubbing that man's drawers. At this point, you reached a low. And these are people who are never going to come to jail again. That's terrible. I've never been that soft in my life. I personally would rather die than wash somebody's drawers. I'm sorry. I just got certain principles that I stand on. You'll never find a dude to say that he made me wash any drawers, he heard of me washing any drawers. I would slap his mother in the face. Moving on. Top 2 most humiliating things that a Dayroom dummy must go through if he chooses to be soft and not stick up for himself and be a man. The Beyonce booty dance. You owe money. I've been discovering through these stories that there's an old thing called the meditation dance or the medication dance. That older dudes who've been to the island in the early 2000s and in the 90s tell me about. I don't exactly know what that is. I want to get one of these dudes to tell me what it is. But I remember there was a dance called the Beyonce booty dance, where I'm not going to demonstrate because I've never done this before, but I'm just going to show you a little bit of what it may have looked like, and then you can use your imagination for the rest. So the booty dance starts like this. Okay? The dudes are like this. For whatever reason, the people who run the house, they feel violated by you. Maybe it's because you didn't have no commissary and they mad because they want extra Pop-Tarts. They say, go to the wall, assume the position. These dudes, these men get up and they go like this to the wall, right? That's the furthest I'm going. Now, any of y'all who remember the Beyonce booty dance, right? These dudes are forced. I don't know why a man would have another man do this. I've never asked a dude to do this, but I've seen it happen. They do the booty dance, and while they doing it, a person would either punch them in their ribs, right? Or slap them in their ribs, or slap them in their face or the back of their head 10 or 15 times. And then the dude just have to sit there and take it. Very humiliating. I feel like if you're gonna allow a man to do that, you're not a man. At some point, we have to have dignity and self-respect for ourselves. Like, at some point we have to. You know what I mean? But that was number 2. And the number 1 most humiliating thing a Dayroom dummy has to go through for being soft and playing tough when he's out in the town, but then coming to jail and being soft and submitting, is dudes from your hood coming to Rikers Island and finding out how soft you are. And you have to sit there and deal with that embarrassment. You have to ask your man to not expose you. You have to literally potentially deal with a dude you know from the town who he's gonna come in, he's gonna be official, he's gonna find out about you, he's gonna tell you if y'all in the same gang that you have 24 hours to pop it off on the toughest guy in there and get moved out of there, or you're dismissed from that gang. Or if you're not in the gang, you start to deal with him calling home and telling the boys how soft you are and how he had to save you. That's the most humiliating thing, because you can't just deal with this in jail and then go home and pretend to be somebody you wasn't. You now have to assume a new identity. Or you go home and you end up back because now you want to prove yourself and being tough, which is what stupid people do. But there you have it, man. Top 10 most humiliating things that a Dayroom dummy has to go through.